So today, Maggie and I are going to talk about on-leash greetings. And are they socialization or are they frustration?
Frustration.
They're totally frustration. And I think sometimes we don't understand from the dog's point of view what it feels like. And we don't really understand what socialization is. And we don't understand the bad habits that are developing. So there's a lot of stuff going on. And I would say a good percentage of clients that I work with, a complaint is, my dog barks at other dogs on leash, my dog pulls on leash, my dog can't focus on leash, all this stuff. And a lot of it goes back to that early exposure on the leash. And so when we think about how dogs meet and greet, there's a lot of body language, there's a lot of cueing going on, either inviting the dog to come and play or saying, you know, I don't really like other dogs, or I just don't like you, or whatever that is. But dogs have a very natural way of interacting and cueing each other, just like humans, right? So I share this, example. A typical human encounter would be if I'm walking around and I come into a room and I see Maggie, and I'm like, oh, hi, Maggie.
Hi.
Very nice to meet you. You know, as people, we smile, we make eye contact, we reach out our hand, or we give someone a hug. And our dogs are doing a lot of the same thing. They're making or averting eye contact. They have a tense body posture or very fluid, like, oh, you look like fun, and play bowing and all that stuff. But they have very clear signals, just like we do. And I joke all the time that as a person, if they sent me into a room of people to greet them, and they tied my hands behind my back first. So I'm walking in the room, and I'm like, well, hi, Maggie. Hi, how you doing? It just feels so unnatural and awkward, and people are looking at me like, what's your problem? And I'm frustrated because that's not how I like to greet people. That's how our dogs feel when they're on a leash.
Absolutely.
Because, what is normal dog like greeting? What should it look like?
Well, when dogs are off leash, they never approach each other straight on, unless somebody has an issue.
Right.
They approach at an angle. Sometimes they come around behind. So it's never that one-on-one. Everything is fluid and loose. And they're also getting a lot of signals even before they get close to one another. They can be, many feet away and just look at each other. I've seen it happen. One dog looks at the other dog. The second dog turns its head away, looks over to sniff the grass. That's not by accident. That's on purpose. That dog is saying, well, I really don't feel like talking to you right now.
Yeah.
I'm not in the mood. And, if both dogs have a good grasp of dog conversation, the other dog will politely say, well, okay, turn away. I'll go find somebody else to play with.
Right. And lots of sniffing, lots of slow interaction. They shouldn't be charging at another dog to say hi. Well-educated dogs, meaning they've had a great education in play, starting from puppyhood, they know really good communication skills. And that's only learned through off-leash play and supervised play groups. And when they don't have that, if we try to replace appropriate training, education is probably a better word, with all your dog ever gets are these on-leash hit or miss, drive-by greetings.
Drive-by, I like that.
We've deprived them of one of the most important skills they're ever going to need in their lifetime.
Right.
And I encourage my students from, the day they get a puppy especially, you need to fit into your schedule time for playtime. And if you have a resident dog, say your dog has a housemate, it's great that they play with them, but they need to go play with other dogs too.
And I think it's also important that they not all be puppies.
Right.
I think there's a whole lot of value in a puppy, a young dog, interacting, meeting an adult dog, as long as the adult dog is one that likes puppies and is good with other dogs.
Right.
Because the adult dog will, if the puppy is getting too wild, the adult dog will tend to give the puppy signals to calm down.
Right. And we confuse that with, well, I need an older dog to beat the snot out of my puppy to teach him how to play. That's really not a great idea. There's a a friend who lives close by here, and she runs a very small private boarding/daycare. She's a retired breeder. And I refer so many of my clients to her. If someone says to me, oh, we have a puppy, we don't have a fenced yard, none of our relatives have dogs, my neighbors don't have dogs, we don't know what to do, I refer them to this friend of mine, and she just has like the amazing dog land. And a lot of people who are gonna watch this video know who I'm talking about, and so does the person who runs this place, because she has probably saved many dogs' lives by giving them a safe place to be socialized. And so she'll welcome in a little puppy, 12, 13 weeks old, or however old they are, and she'll hand pick out of the well-socialized dogs who grew up there, who come to daycare now. She'll say, oh, I think little Buster here should play with Avery, or this person should play with Laker. And they learn, they play with these well-socialized adult dogs, and that's so critical to their development. And so many of them end up going there for like their whole life. And so, you know, when we think about these on-leash greetings are replacing that, no way.
No.
There's just no way. And I can tell you, having a winter puppy, Ducky, you know, getting him middle of December, it's not easy here in Michigan.
No.
It's freezing cold. It's either freezing cold or ice.
Or mud.
Or mud, yeah. Hello, Michigan.
Yeah.
Good luck getting people who want to come out. I mean, fortunately, I have lots of dog friends who were diehards, and we all have long, full-length down coats. But it's hard, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, I know how important this is, and there are days where I have to just suck it up and say, I'm going to go out in the freezing cold and let my puppy play. But I know you can't get it back.
No.
And I know just putting him on a leash and walking him around Lowe's where it's nice and warm for me, but he's not getting the play benefits from that. He's getting great exposure.
Right.
He's getting, you know, he loves going to Lowe's. And I actually got a new washer out of it because I thought, well, I'm at Lowe's, I might as well get a new washer. But he's not getting what he needs by just being walked around on leash. So I had to hand pick. In Peaches, your dog is probably his best bud. They had a great play style together. Peach really helped him learn. You know, she initiated play, and then she let him know when, you know, okay, I don't want to run around anymore. Let's just lay here.
Yeah, that was a really good experience.
Let's tug on a toy.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when people ask me, well, why are on-leash greetings such a problem? You can't teach your puppy early on to drag you up to every dog they see to say hi, and then try to flip it on them in a couple months and say, well, I don't like that anymore.
Right.
Now he's barking at dogs. And he won't stop until I let him go say hi.
Because he's learned the behavior.
Right.
If I pull hard enough, long enough towards that other dog, they're going to give in and let me greet him.
Right. And that's where, not all, but a lot of on-leash reactivity develops. That's the launching pad.
Yes.
For your reactive on-leash dog, or your dog who just becomes a complete lunatic. Maybe there's no aggression or fear or anxiety behind it, but you have just created this lunatic dog who, I've had people stop me on walks, their dog's going crazy on leash, just crazy. And can my dog come say hi to your dog? And I always laugh like, well, there's nothing appealing about that. And I'll just say, no, I'm sorry, you know, my dog doesn't greet when he's on a leash. My dog will calm down if you could just come over and let your dog say hi.
So now you not only have to train your dog, you have to train somebody else's dog.
No, it's my fault that your dog can't calm down. And, you know, I try really hard for the most part. I never, ever give advice to people when I'm out with my own dogs because, you know.
We know what it's worth.
Well, yeah, you know, why do I think people care what I think? But if somebody's going to stop me and start drilling me, and basically put me in a position of, well, now I have to explain myself to them. If I'm in the mood, I will. But we've created this dog, and now we decide we don't like it. But how then do we create the dog and raise and train the dog who can go out in the world? My dogs, they love other dogs. That whether they're playing in the backyard off leash or whether they pass them on the sidewalk. but they know the difference between when the leash is on. They don't solicit attention from other dogs because they just know, well, we're obviously not in the backyard with our leash off.
Right.
Yeah. So how does it start with puppies, Maggie? Like, what do we do?
So, I think it's really important that the leash means something to your dog, and it can mean whatever you choose it to mean. It could mean you put the leash on and the dog drags you all over town if that's the behavior that your dog has practiced. So,
We got
you're
snoring in the
here.
background.
I know I'm boring. And when I teach dog classes, there are often young puppies in class. It's not a puppy class, but there's young puppies in class. And sometimes the students, they want their dogs to play. And I really discourage that because, especially, I don't want them to play off leash because I want them to know that that classroom is where we pay attention to our owner.
And
not,
good things happen.
yes, good things happen when we pay attention to our owner. And I also, our whole goal is to get the dog paying attention to us, not the other dogs in the class.
Right.
And that's one of the skills that they can learn in class is, oh, there's another dog across the room. But if I ignore it and look at mom, good things happen.
Right.
And that's what we want that leash to mean. Calmness.
Right.
Stick with mom. Stay with my owner because that's where all the good stuff happens.
Good things happen when I'm with my mom or dad. My leash is not a form of punishment. It's just a safety line to allow me to take my dog out places.
Right.
Because by law, they need to be on leash. I thought I'd throw that one in.
Yeah.
When they're off your property. But my leash is not, I don't even consider my leash a training tool. My leash is just the way I keep my dog from getting away from me. So they don't see it as a negative. When they're out with me, I take them to fun places and they get great treats and we see great things. And I teach them early on to feel calmer in the presence of other dogs. And one of the things I've done for years, Maggie's done this with me, is I organize these hangout groups. So if students have worked with me and I know their dogs and I know it would be a good group of dogs, I pick a place and a time, usually in a nice park, and say, hey, who wants to come for a hangout? And initially it's fun when certain new people come into the group, like, so what are we gonna do?
Nothing.
Well, what are we gonna train? We're gonna be hanging out. And then I have to go into an explanation of what that means. I don't want my dog to think that every time they're on a leash, we're walking and moving and doing skills and we're just going.
Right.
I want to know that if I'm walking somewhere and I just decide to sit down on a park bench and just watch the world go by, then my dog is going to just sit there and do it with me. But that starts when they're a puppy.
Right, that's definitely a learned behavior. We have to help them figure that out.
And so on all these hangouts, and I'm sure people at the parks have wondered, like, geez, dog's drugged or what? But we'll have anywhere from 4 to 8 people there with their dogs, all ages and breeds and sizes, and we're all spaced out, sitting under maybe a big covered shelter or whatever, and our dogs are maybe laying at our feet chewing on a bone. We might bring a frozen Kong for them, especially the younger dogs. But we, the people, we just sit around and talk, and our dogs just hang out, and they learn being in the presence of another dog doesn't mean you're going to go play with them.
It's not a free-for-all.
It's not a constant invitation. Does it require practice? Yeah. How long have we been doing that?
As long as I've known you.
I know. And I've gone through a lot of dogs. I've had therapy dogs who are training with me who've moved on to their forever homes, and so you've met a lot of dogs.
Yes.
My neighbors may think I have 50 dogs. I do not. It kind of seems that way, but I really don't.
Well, they all look.
They did. For a long time, they did look similar.
Yeah.
Now the newfies have completely thrown people off. They don't know what to think. But I find that, quite honestly, one of the most important things I do with my dogs.
I agree. I agree.
More than sit, more than down, more than anything. If I can have a dog who feels comfortable in their own skin, who isn't immediately triggered at the sight of another dog or squirrel, because these hangouts, they're also ignoring bikers, joggers, squirrels, birds, One time there was a coyote when I was out. Yeah, we saw it going through the grass.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just never know. But that, to me, that's everything.
Right.
Whether I'm training a pet dog, a therapy dog, a service dog, you know, some of the working dogs that I've had, their jobs are demanding. They're very demanding. And we need to help them feel comfortable and relaxed in all these different environments and not think that the leash means the end of the good time.
Mhm.
And I think we can make the leash very negative. You know, I put the leash on you, yeah, well, now I'm gonna take you out and frustrate the heck out of you. You can't do this and you can't do that. And so in class, when we share, you know, with students, you know, let's avoid greeting your classmates. We wanted to make this video to really help people understand why we say that. We're not just mean people who
Right.
don't think dogs should have fun. You know, come watch our dogs play sometimes. They have a pretty good time. But the importance of doing these different types of training exercises, yeah, you got to take a chunk out of your Sunday afternoon. You know, so I teach a class called Outdoor Adventures, and its purpose is to take everything you've learned inside, and now let's take it outside and help your dog keep going, because that's really the next step in training. Because if your dog is only great in one environment, I mean, it's great if you never leave.
If you never leave the living room, you're
Yeah.
probably pretty good.
But I think there's a huge misunderstanding about why we say no on-leash greetings. And I think the piece that's always missed is because the owner, the pet parent, has to make it their responsibility to meet that off-leash socialization
right.
time. That can't happen in a class once a week.
Well, and the problem is, so you bring your dog to class and you want your dog to learn to be a good dog, whatever that means, be well behaved, listen to you, and your dog is, if you're letting your dog go approach another dog on leash, you're teaching your dog, your dog is learning that too. Oh, when I'm on a leash, sometimes I get to go greet other dogs.
Right.
So it's confusing to your dog. The clearer you can be when you're training your dog, the better off you're going to be.
Right.
And you're just laying the foundation for how the dog is going to act the rest of its life. Sometimes people don't think about that too much.
Right. Right. I know I'm in class right now with Ducky, in Maggie's class. And, you know, we have our own little piece of real estate off in the corner. And my goal when I took him into class, he already knows all the skills, you know, which is nice, you know. I've been working with him since I got him. But the one skill I couldn't replicate was having him in a room on a leash with a bunch of other dogs.
Right.
You can be the best trainer in the world unless you have friends who come to your house and hang out in your living room with your
Right.
dogs. You really can't train that. And so I wanted him to go to a new place, new environment, all these dogs, a lot of variables, be on a leash with me. I go there, I've got his high value, no hide chew, I've got a frozen Kong, I've got a toy that he likes, I've got great food, I haven't fed him dinner, you know, he's all decked out and ready to go. And all I really care about in this class is that Ducky has learned that he can be in the presence of other dogs on a leash. I'm chewing my bone, I'm eating my Kong, I'm getting treats from Michelle, he's laying at my feet half the time. And to me, that's a successful class.
Oh, absolutely.
I can come home and do sit down, stay, come, leave it, all the stuff on the handouts and practice at home all the time with him, but I cannot replicate the on-leash stuff at home. That's why we come to class, and I think sometimes some of our classmates are even wondering, like, well,
What's she doing back
what is
there?
she doing back there? She doesn't listen to Maggie. She's not sticking with the program, but his program is that I want to have him be this calm, confident, relaxed dog when he's on a leash in the presence of dogs. We have a dog in there who loves to howl a little bit.
Beagle, yeah.
And a wonderful little beagle loves to howl. And we got a little bit of barking, and we have dogs who are really happy and excited to be in there. But he has to just realize, yeah, that's great. He can see them all. And I click and treat him when he looks at dogs and just keeps his little ducky mouth shut. You know, and he's, and he's not scrambling trying to get towards them, but I'm letting him learn this is what the world is like. Look, yeah, there's a dog, there's a dog, there's a dog. Yeah, let's just hang out here.
Well, and he's doing very well at it. I think people underrate the importance of your dog learning to do nothing.
People say, oh, so what does Ducky know? Not much. First month I had him. Like, so what does he know? Not a whole lot.
But this is what he doesn't know. How to
Right.
jump on counters,
Right.
how to jump on people,
Right.
hopefully how to dig in the yard. We're preventing those behaviors by installing some other behaviors.
Right, and they'll ask me, what does he know? Well, he's comfortable on leash, he's comfortable when I take him places, he's very comfortable going to the vet. All the things that are to be part of his life, he's perfectly fine.
And that's
with
what
those.
dog owners really want. That's what we as dog owners, nobody cares if your dog can sit and down 15 times. Really, what they want is a dog that's easy to live with.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I want.
That's what I want. And it's a lot of work, but it's worth it because these dogs just end up being the most enjoyable, most easygoing dogs that I can take places and have fun with them. And for me, that's really what I want.
Right.
I just want to have my buddy who wants to be my sidekick.
I
when
agree.
I go out.
I think that's what most people want, but some just don't know how to get there, and that's why
Right.
they need help.
And that's why it's so important to get into a reward-based training class. Training class should not scare, hurt, or intimidate your puppy and make you feel like a horrible person for implementing these tactics.
Oh, I agree.
So it is important where you go, but as always, training should be fun for you. It's my date night, my Ducky date night, and I always look forward to it. And if I ever found myself not looking forward to it, I'd have to question what I was doing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Have fun training your dog.